The views expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan, a WBKB News public affairs program. Insights deals with the issues affecting those in the community, as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights into Northeast Michigan.
Good morning and welcome to Insights. I'm Lindsay DeLucia. Today we'll be talking about three different things here this summer in Alpena. First, the Brown Trout Festival. We'll also be talking about the Boys and Girls Club and what's going on with them this summer. And we'll be welcoming our new ACC president. But first, I'm here with Mayor Matt Wallagora, who we'll be talking about the Brown Trout Festival with. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. My pleasure.
Yeah. And so first, I just want to talk about how long you've been in the area. You grew up here. You're the mayor now. And so tell me about how many years you've been attending the Brown Trout Festival.
Well, as long as I can remember, I guess, even as a teenager. For several years, this being the 41st, so since I can't remember when. So yeah. It's always been a staple to our community.
Right, and it is a staple for all ages of the community. Tell me a little bit about how it caters to kids, to families, to adults, and everyone here.
Well, it does, and that's the glory and probably why it's such a long-standing Alpena tradition and a festival in the state of Michigan, is because it has an attraction to just about everyone. There's a lot of family events for down to children and fishing in the fountain.
Yeah.
Sorry, and teen nights. There's this year there's 2 teen nights, and there's adult tent functions. And the one of the better parts about it as well is that there's a lot of free functions as well. So it's not as if you have to spend money all the time. You can, but there are a lot of free functions. And then the fishing, of course, the tournaments are a draw as well. So.
Right, as it's called, the Brown Trout Festival. I mean, a lot of people might just think it revolves around fishing or something like that, but there's so many activities going on. I know there's a screening this year of a film.
Right,
so.
Right, yep, the documentary screening. That'll draw quite a few people, and you know, it brings in a lot of different aspects. Obviously, the fishermen and the fishing is up in certain species this year from some earlier years. But there again, you have functions for everyone to come down, and some find it as a summertime reunion type of an event. You go there, and if you've been away for a while, or if you live here, you're going to run into people that you haven't seen in a long time. Plus, a lot of visitors and tourists come as well. So
definitely brings people into the area, and that helps us out a lot here in Alpena too. You know, we want to bring as many people into the area as we can, and this is definitely a benefit. So tell me, obviously it's been going on for 41 years. What do you think is the one thing that keeps it coming back or keeps up the tradition of the Brown Trout Festival?
I don't know if there's a one thing. I guess if there is a one thing, it's the fact that the group that runs the tournament has evolved and answered to what people want to do and what people want to see in a festival. It's and just that creativity. Things change up. Different events come and go. They move things around a little bit. One of the most popular outside of fishing events is the Bay 108 Party Night, or Bash, Bay 108 Bash, and that's been on a Wednesday evening for as long as I can remember, and this year they've moved it to Friday. Just moving things and changing things as they go, I think that's probably the one thing that's kept it going for so long.
Right, and moving that to a Friday night might have been a good idea on their part, right? I mean,
for some might make Thursday a little bit easier.
Yes.
And they've filled that gap on Wednesday with something else as well. We've seen everything from MMA fighting to the beach bash and different things kind of come and go. So some things are a staple that have never changed, and some things have been changed out.
Right, and with some of the changes this year, is there anything that you're looking forward to specifically change-wise, or just something that is there every year?
For me, it's usually the things that I really enjoy the things that are always there. Friday morning, the kickoff breakfast, the Alpena, Good Morning Alpena breakfast kicks off in the big tent on Friday morning, and that's an event I don't like to miss because the weather's usually pretty good, and there's a lot of great familiar faces, and we kick it off and you get a scouting report about the fish themselves and a few other presentations, so that's always a big draw. There's a pancake breakfast, a different morning. That's something I don't recall ever going to, but I might hit that. And food vendors, I don't know, I talk about food a lot. I like to eat. We go down there for dinners sometimes and get some brats and burgers and things. So those are the draws, and then a lot of the evening things as well. If you have children, the Kids Day is just fantastic. PNC Bank puts on a great Kids Day event and family nights. So.
Yeah, and there's so much work that goes into the week. I mean, it's a week long, full of festivities. So how do you think that impacts the success of the event each year?
Well, just the fact that that the tournament, from the tournament aspect, from the fishing aspect, and you bring people that come in on a regular basis, and then as the prizes grow, which I understand they did in certain categories this year, that'll bring people in catching big brownie, the tagged fish. You know, you get a couple grand for that. That's kind of a big deal. So that draws people in, and festivals that last, the extent and the length of time that does really helps our economic base in not only in the downtown area where the most of the functions are, but even out into the township and whatnot. So it's economically it's a big deal for our community. So.
Right. Absolutely. And so if people want to see, you know, the events, what's going on, where can they find all of these things? I know that there's the
brochure. Normally there's also in some of our local restaurants, there's always the table placemat with some events on it. And then of course if you just Google Michigan Brown Trout Festival, it's the first thing that comes up. And they have a great website. It has that entire book on it. And a lot of photos and rules and everything, things that changed, so that they have a great website. So that's a great area as well. All
information on there for everyone. I mean, it kicks off this Friday, starting with the breakfast, right?
Yep, starts with the breakfast on Friday and goes through 2 weekends, so it'll be into the following weekend, and pretty much something every night.
Right.
So, in the big tent, the small tent. The small tent, I'd love to go down there. They have, it's a free event. They've got evening bands that come in and play, and there's lots of food and activities. And then the weigh-ins, of course, with the fish that come in and get weighed in. So every night, it's just a great opportunity to come down and check it out.
All right, great. Well, thanks so much for all the information, Matt. We really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you there, and we look forward to seeing everyone come out to support and enjoy the Brown Trout Festival this year. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And coming up next, we'll be talking about the Boys and Girls Club this summer and what they'll have to be offering the public. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Insights, everyone. I'm here with Brad Summers, the Executive Director at the Boys and Girls Club of Alpena. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So first, let's just talk a little bit about what we've covered in the past with you guys. We've talked about the raffle dinner, so tell me a little bit about what's been happening from the raffle dinner on.
Well, the raffle dinner is our biggest fundraiser of the year. This is the one where all the proceeds actually go right towards our operating expense. And that kind of leads right into the biggest time of the year for us is our summer programming. So all the proceeds that we receive, that are donated, that are raised because of this fundraiser, we're able to continue the rest of the year by providing a lot more opportunities for the kids in our community.
That's great. And so how does that impact everything that's going on in the summer? Because the summer is obviously the busiest time of year for you guys. So tell me about that.
Well, because of the fact that summer is the biggest time of year for us, you know, we're seeing 90 or more kids each day coming in our building. And with that, of course, there's added expense. With the fundraiser, it gives us that opportunity to, like I said before, provide more for the kids that attend our club. So when it comes to more technology resources, more even dodgeballs in the gym, or just you know, simple things like helping with our food program. We have a food program that's available to anyone 6 to 18 years of age every single day throughout the entire year. And with 90 or more kids coming a day, of course, that's a big expense for us to be able to put out there. So you know, all these funds, these fundraisers, everything that we raise during the year is basically, it goes right back into what we do and provide for the kids. So there's a lot of resources, a lot of things, you know, wear and tear on just, you know, the equipment, sports equipment, or, you know, taking of kids to field trips with the added expense of transportation, those kind of things. You know, so there's a lot of very important things that all this money does to, for the Boys and Girls Club of Alpena.
Absolutely. And so tell me a little bit specifically about the summer. You have a lot of programs going on. Did you want to talk about a few of them specifically?
Yeah, the biggest one I'd like to talk about is the Summer Brain Gain. This is a very important program for us. We have very well-trained staff that facilitate the program. But the thing, a lot of kids, 50% or more kids, actually lose some of the retention from, or some of the education that they learned back, say, a fourth grader going into fifth grade. During the summer, kids are just busy. They're not as active educationally as they are during the school year. So this program is designed to help the kids retain what they learned in the previous grade and then give them resources and skills to excel going into the next grade. So, for us, it's very important to, to see the kids be on track to graduate on time when they're in 12th grade, things like that. So, starting early, even in like first, kindergarten, those kind of, right at the very beginning, it's important to see that positive reinforcement throughout the kids' education. A lot of times we have kids that start coming to the club at 6 years old in first grade, and all of a sudden they're with us for 10, 12 years, sporadically through sports, things like that, but they're engaged somehow through some kind of an outreach effort that we might put out there. So the Summer Brain Gain is a great way for us to step in, help with the kids' educational development, and help them move on and see them succeed in school.
Right, and obviously kids don't want to be in school over the summer, you know what I mean? So how do you guys attract them and let them know that it's a fun place while they're also learning?
Well, and we try to do that, it's a unique creative approach, because the kids don't want to be sitting down in a chair listening to an adult talk about things constantly. So we've done a lot of things to provide that creative approach, which might be through service learning opportunities, going on field trips. We might, take the kids outside on the island. We provide a lot of different educational components that we kind of hide in, fun games. There might be a mathematics lesson inside of a Foursquare game, or, dodgeball. We might be putting numbers or components or something along those lines, where we're trying to reinforce that educational components for kids to, of course, see them succeed, but at the same time having fun and learning while they're not even knowing they're learning. So, that's the creative approach that my staff, really tries to put out there and reinforce for these kids.
And it seems to be working. I mean, tell me a little bit about what you think the public views the Boys and Girls Club as to what it really is and what it really offers to everyone in the community.
Well, I took over, this is now my third summer as the executive director. I've been with the Boys and Girls Club organization for over 15 years. I started here in Alpena at the Boys and Girls Club, and the stigma that we've had is, it's all just disadvantaged kids. It's kids that, don't have moms and dads, and that is so far from the truth. We deal with kids from all walks of life. And, that stigma in the community, I think, is starting to go away because of the exposure of the positive things that we're doing. It's just like the public school system. There are going to be kids that need us more than others, but we're there for all kids. And that's what's important for the community to understand, is that it isn't just sitting down and sitting with a pool stick for 4 or 5 hours a day. Though that social recreation part is very important to what we do, but there's those important reinforcements, the high yield learning activities, the educational things that we do with the kids, and sit down and teach them about safety on the computers, and teach them how important reading is, and the collaborations that we have with the community that help us reinforce these things is extremely important to what we do. And of course, we don't have kids at the club without the parents. So the more the parents know about the great things that we're doing and the compassionate staff that we have that's very well trained, and these kids are always in a supervised environment, the more kids that we're going to see coming through our doors, which we like to see more and more kids, of course. So it's important for us to, to put out there in the community what kind of positive things and, the important things that we're doing to address the needs of the youth in our community.
Right, and it's definitely a great asset to the community. The numbers are growing, as we've seen, so it's a really great thing.
Thank you.
And you have younger volunteers who help out, I know.
Correct.
How do you think that kind of shows to the younger kids, as something that they want to strive to be or something like that?
Well, our Youth Volunteer Corps program is a huge component, especially a year-round component, but during the summer it's a huge part of what we do. Some of the younger kids that see these kids going out in the community and engaging themselves in citizenship activities and, giving back just out of the kindness of their hearts. These kids are leaders of the leaders. They don't expect anything for what they do. They go out and they try to make a positive impact by addressing these needs in the community. And they're like heroes to the little kids. When they come into the club, the younger kids, they look up to these kids, and in a roundabout way, they're providing a mentorship relationship with the younger kids that come to the club. And it's important for us to highlight these great things that these great young teenagers are out there doing in our community. And it's important to highlight those because the younger kids want to strive to do that. And the more you get kids to buy into seeing the impact that you can make by going out and doing a food packing project or an intergenerational project with Turning Brook or Tender Care, just sitting and listening to an older person tell stories about when they were kids, or just to learn from each other and to learn from a program that's designed to put them in those leadership positions is extremely important. So the younger we get kids to see the impact of that, the more it's going to help our community and any community that these kids are going to go to in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brad, thanks so much for being here, and tell us where people can learn more if they want to get involved volunteer-wise or sending their kids, anything like that.
Well, they can always call the Boys and Girls Club at 356-0214, or you can visit our website at bgcalpena.com.
All right, great. And anything else you want to add about this summer coming up? Fun things?
A lot of things are planned, especially volunteer-wise, but we have our summer splash day at the end where we get to go around, the staff get pelted with water balloons and squirt guns by little kids, and during the summertime we just have a lot of great things going on, and volunteers are always very welcomed, and give us a call. We'd love to see what we can do.
All right, great. Well, thanks so much, Brad. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And don't go anywhere, because coming up next we'll be welcoming our new ACC president to the area. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Insights, everyone. I'm here with Don McMaster, our new president over at ACC. So welcome, Don. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And I understand that you've been at the school for a while now, but we'd like to welcome you to your new position and kind of let everyone know who you are as our new president. So tell me how your first full week has been, because you just finished that up.
Yes. Well, Lindsay, it's been exciting. It's been daunting. It's been inspiring, and it's been gratifying. The gratifying piece has come from the support of the community and the staff, people that I currently work with, and people that I've worked with over my 23 years at the college. It's just a delight to hear from them and hear their expressions of support for the college and their expressions of support for me.
And any surprises or anything that's come up in the first week that took you by surprise, or I don't know?
Yeah, not exactly. It's been a pretty tame week. I talked to Dr. Joynton this morning, and we had a nice chat. Wonderful friend and mentor. What occurs to me, sitting in his seat, is the breadth of things you have to stay on top of, and the energy and focus it will take to do the job well. And obviously I intend to do it well. It's to the benefit of the college, the students, the community. But it occurs to me that it's a job that's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of focus, and a lot of collaboration.
And in your 23 years at the college and just working with Dr. Joynton and everyone there, all of the staff, what have you taken from that, and how do you think that those years have impacted your role now?
That's a good question. Well, I grew up in this area. I am a proud graduate of Alcona High, 1977. My family were cattle farmers, and my dad was a teacher. Dad and Mom both read a lot. They were very avid learners and solid people, a lot of integrity. I learned a lot from them. So I went off to U of M to go to school, and really enjoyed that challenging environment and bigger city and the opportunities that came with that. And after school, I was a magazine writer professionally for about 8 years, and wrote for the Detroit Free Press magazine when they had a magazine. They don't any longer. And for an Ann Arbor city magazine called The Observer, which is a very well-written publication geared toward a very literate audience. So I learned a lot from that. I met the person who became my wife when I was taking a vacation up here, and she was practicing medicine at the Medical Arts Clinic, Dr. Rossi. And that was the first time I really thought, wow, maybe I'm going to come back to Alpena. And I did. And I was fortunate, like a lot of folks, to plug into the community college. And my first and really route to where I am now is through workforce development. So I quickly had to establish connections with the business and industry people, learn about what their needs were, align those with what we could offer at the college, find resources in some cases to provide them what they needed. And I got a crash course in the importance in the mission of a community college and how it ties to the economic vitality of a region. And over the intervening 2 decades, that lesson has just been reinforced multiple times. So in my mind, the college has a tremendous foundation of people who care about it, people who have done great work in benefit of the college, students who have gone through and have attained successful careers, jobs, outcomes, very strong foundation, very strong board of trustees, people who are very accomplished, who care about the college and understand it deeply. Great staff, faculty renowned for very good instruction. So there's so many strengths and things to build on. And my approach in almost everything, as it clarifies the older I get, is to build on what the assets are and not to just cast them aside, but to see, to sustain and improve where we're strong and to look at areas where we might, within the resources we have, create new opportunities. Marine tech would be a recent example. The work that we're doing in partnership with the county and the autonomous unmanned vehicles would be another. So to look for ways, sometimes it involves finding money or being able to write grants and chase money that allows you to do things that your resources, if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be able to do. And that really was one of the things that I've done a lot of over my years at the college.
Mm-hmm. And so to go off of that, if you could have a one-liner or a mission statement for the college as president, what would you say yours is?
Maintain integrity and professionalism, understand the community and respect it, and work energetically toward positive outcomes that can be shared by a lot of stakeholders and constituents.
Absolutely, and I think that the college really has upheld that reputation, and I think that we'll see how you go about with that. And tell the audience a little bit about Don McMaster the person, not Don McMaster the president. Let us know who you are, what your hobbies are, that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm a pretty normal guy. I've got 4 children that I love a lot, and they've all gone through the public schools. You know, as a northeastern Michigan person, I think I'm aware of some of the fabric of the community, and I share those values. I'm, I think, a tolerant person. I like to listen. I like to learn. I like to know where people are coming from. And I like to get things done, you know. So my hope for the college, I think Dr. Joynton did a wonderful job. I think Dr. Newport before him did a fine job too. So these are big shoes to fill. My sense is that the community is very supportive of the college, and my intent is to sustain and grow that support and be mindful of it. Mm-hmm. That's me, I guess. That's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, definitely. It's important to, you know, portray your personal life in your work as well and your personal values. So we'll definitely be seeing some of that. And we really look forward to you as our new president at ACC. We do a lot of work with ACC, so I'll be looking forward to seeing you often as well. So thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it for your time.
Thank you, Lindsay. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we have for you this week on Insights, but tune back in next week for more about summer in Alpena and Northern Michigan. Thanks so much.
Insights into Northeast Michigan is produced by WBKB News. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email WBKB News. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.
The furniture and set design for this episode of Insights is provided by Young Appliance Art Van Furniture on US 23 South, Alpena.